welcome everyone, and it's just so great to have you here today. A vision starts from a lot of different things. My roots go back to New York, and a lot of my staff know that my heritage were all European immigrants that came to this country so that our family could have a better life. When we started in the 50s, I thought our family lifestyle was the best. As I was talking to you, Mrs. Corwell, every Sunday we got together. We had a gathering after church, and we had cousins playing around. We had an uncle that played a guitar. The food was always great, and we really just enjoyed life. There wasn't a lot of financial means in our family, but everyone worked hard, and everyone enjoyed each other's company. The vision that I have today is kind of an outreach of that heritage. It's also based on my own personal experiences with my own loved ones. Both of my grandmothers passed away in the 1960s, and both of them lived in senior communities that were pretty bad. There were places that weren't very friendly. The family didn't go in. I was a young teenager at the time. We wouldn't want to even go in there. So when I looked around, I said, I know we can make things better. It so happens that I started this 30 years ago, and so we progressively have gotten better and better at it by listening to our residents and families and what they want. And what we heard loud and clear was people want to live independent, active lives. They don't want a medical model. They don't want to live in a facility. They want to live in a community. They want to live active. They want to be socially active, and they want education and information so you can make your own choices. Your family members want the best for you. And that's really what Monarch Village is all about. It's as simple as that. You can see, we don't have to tell you about, our fabulous team. We don't have to tell you about our fabulous lifestyle. We're going to show you. And this is one of many events that we host on a regular basis. This isn't just for marketing. This is the way we live. So whether it's our Sunday brunches or our monthly get-togethers for anniversaries or birthdays, it's a celebration of life. We had one lady here, she said she likes to study and do genealogy. Genealogy is very important to us because that's who you are. And so we don't want, an age-prejudiced community where somebody judges people because of maybe a wheelchair or a walker. We find that that's very prejudicial. Some of the most independent people I've ever met in my life were people that maybe lost a limb in Korea. That I had one gentleman 30 years ago, I tried to help him over a threshold, and he knocked my hand out and he says, I can do it myself. And this fellow was a vibrant individual, somebody that you'd love to sit around and play a card game with, someone that you'd love to have a beer with, someone that you'd just like to have a talk with. So again, we try to break the aging stigma that's in our society by celebrating life and celebrating achievements. Most of our residents have been extremely productive members of our society. We want their neighbors and their families to know one another. When we bring in life enrichment, Patricia Reese, our life enrichment director, goes into the families and tries to find out who they are. What's your biography? What is your genealogy? And then we celebrate that. So again, it's a simple approach, but it all kind of comes together with you and your families. We set the stage with a beautiful community. You'll see our apartments. You see our ice sculptures, our fruit carvings, and things like that. You see our wonderful staff in tuxedos. But this is a family-friendly community. Make no mistake about it. We have Kids Club on Saturday and Sunday. We want your great-grandkids coming in here. If they start to, get a little bit wiry and I have 3 grandkids, I understand that. They can go out and they can play in the Kids Club while you enjoy your time with your family. So again, it's a vibrant community. It's something that's very different than exists in San Francisco. You'll see it as we show it to you through our series of events, which is really an important part of what we do. The innovation is Sunday brunch. It's having fun. We're going to bring in a financial planner now. His comments are going to be brief, hopefully a little briefer than mine. And then we'll follow up with a magician and more fun, because that's what life's all about. It's not all serious. It's really about enjoying yourself, having a good meal, sitting with a friend or a family member, and just enjoying the life you deserve, is the way we say it here. That's what Gold Crown Lifestyle is all about. So now I'd like to introduce our guest speakers, Jason Ting from Merrill Lynch Wealth Management, and he'll give you a little bit of an overview of why people in this area can afford this lifestyle. This is not an opulent lifestyle. It's a very efficient lifestyle. It looks opulent. Obviously, you've got white tablecloths. It's something that if you went into San Francisco and you had a meal like this, you know what that would cost. But this is a very efficient lifestyle. And it's because most of you have had a house or you have pensions and you can afford this lifestyle. So I'm going to ask Jason Ting to come up from Wealth Management Merrill Lynch and give you a little bit of information. And hopefully this education process this is a beginning. Jason, we hope, will be a familiar part of our community. He may drop in once in a while for a cup of coffee. If you have a question, you can always ask him. If you need to get a hold of him, our concierge can help you with that. If you've got your own financial advisors or your family members do it, that's great too. But you always have a second, person to go to if you need it. So, Jason, I'd like to welcome you to Monarch Village. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I'd also like to introduce my associate, Rajiva Lutherson. He's been with me, and he's going to have a little bit of part of this talk. Can you guys hear me okay? Is that okay? Great, thank you. So in your tables, you'll see a little brochure here, a little fold-out. There's only 2 pieces of paper in there. I don't really want you to take home too much, but one of them has pictures of some gold buckets. And I'm going to be referring to this so it could help us move along in our conversation. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to explain basic premise on what financial planners do, financial advisors do, and the overall goal, right? And I think one of the key things is these buckets that you see, and usually these buckets, they're usually silver color, but because you guys have the Gold Crown team, I had to choose gold buckets there, all right? So the gold buckets, this is kind of how I look at people's lives when they come to me and they say, look, I have goals I need to meet. I have a bunch of money that I've accumulated. What do I do with it, right? And I say, well, each part of your assets should fall into one of these buckets. One bucket would be like a safety bucket, and it says under that first bucket, safety. Another bucket would be a market bucket, and that's whenever you hear on the news the stock market's going up and down, that's your market bucket. And then the third bucket could be what I call aspirational bucket. An aspirational bucket is essentially something, maybe you owned a business before, or maybe you invested in real estate at the right time in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. Maybe you bought a piece of property and it was $60,000, and today you look at it and you can't believe your eyes, but it's over $1 million. Right? That would be an aspirational type of investment. So what I usually do with my clients is, as you are in retirement years, you want to shift your money from the aspirational bucket on the right left to the safety bucket, right? And one of the things when I was talking with Mr. Hafner about Monarch Village, one of the things that we thought about is, hey, look, if I have a piece of real estate that I bought for even $100,000 and it's appreciated to $900,000, that's a big risk, right? And what can I do with the $900,000 plus my pension, plus my Social Security, and that income that I can draw to enjoy the rest of my life? And that's one of the key things. I was preparing my comments for this presentation here, And I thought about my Auntie Sally. My Auntie Sally moved into a different residence because Monarch Village was not available at that time. But unfortunately, she had to outlay about $1 million up front. In addition to that $1 million outlay, she pays another $4,000 a month. So I think about financially, what could she do with that $1 million to generate income? And how could that give her a lifestyle that she would enjoy, where she would have amenities like, you have a movie theater, I was doing the tour, there's even a hair salon. I couldn't believe it when I walked by and I saw there's a hair salon in-house. And so those are the kinds of things that I think are pretty fantastic about this place. On that sheet below the buckets, you'll see I talk a little bit, it says investing in high quality and dividend yield. I'm only going to say one thing on this. If you are actually investing in the stock market, just make sure it's stuff you know, right? It's got to be, names that you know, products that you use, high quality, and that's because it's safer, okay? I'm going to have Rajiv come up, and he's going to talk quite briefly about protecting yourself from financial abuse, which is an important topic. It's a sensitive issue, but it's an extremely important topic, and I think it's something that you should all hear, and there's a few takeaways that he'll talk about. So I'm going to bring up Rajiv, and then I'll close a little bit about some bullet points relating to Monarch Village, okay? Here you go.
Thanks, Jason. All right, so like Jason said, I'm going to be talking about financial exploitation of the elderly. So what is financial exploitation of the elderly? Well, the definition is that financial exploitation of the elderly occurs when a scam artist, relative, or caregiver of an elderly person steals, withholds, or otherwise misuses that elderly person's money, property, or valuables for personal advantage or profit. And in fact, family, friends, neighbors, and caregivers are the perpetrators in 55% of the cases, people who are very close. And so scam artists may exploit the elderly by using some of the following techniques. And one might be phony charities. Maybe setting up a phony charity, or misrepresenting legitimate charitable organizations to launder money in one form or another. Another way is telemarketing or sweepstakes scams, announcing maybe a prize that the elderly person has won, but must pay some amount of money to claim. A third way, too, is just theft, maybe theft of a wallet containing identification or credit card numbers. That's pretty common too. So some of the takeaways, I'll be really quick, is you have to protect yourself. Plan ahead to protect your assets and to ensure that your wishes are followed in a trust or an estate. You need to talk to someone at your financial institution, at Monarch Village, your financial advisor, your banker, who knows the best options for you and for your heirs. You never want to give out personal information to anyone on the phone. You never want to pay a fee or pay any taxes to collect sweepstake winnings or any kind of lottery winnings. And also never rush into a financial decision. Remember that it's your money and that you're in charge of it. Also, you have to remember that you do have the right, no matter what, not to feel threatened or intimidated. Remember, this is your money. So hopefully that was pretty helpful for you and informative. I'm going to pass it back to Jason to talk about the financial benefits of living in Monarch Village.
Thank you, Rajiv. So going back to this golden bucket sheet, you don't have to pull it out now. I just want to read a few bullet points that I've written down here. And it's something to think about when you're thinking about your own finances. And I think the way to really identify if this makes sense for you, it's to talk with your Gold Crown team and talk, and we're a resource here for them, for you guys. So you could talk with us and we can kind of walk you through this. I'll read through this. Monarch Village in relationship to your buckets of money, as I call it. Financially more efficient since it offers many economies of scale. It's more beneficial if people group share and live together. It's less costly than maintaining, and a lot less headaches, I would say, than maintaining a single-family home. Most people with a net worth of about $1 million, which is typical of a home value in the Bay Area, with a yearly pension of about $50,000, quite easily can afford to live in a place like Monarch Village. Significant benefits to maintaining a liquid estate rather than concentrating assets in a single-family home. Right now, the big risk is if the home value goes up and down, that's a big aspirational risk. And the last thing is really, I go back to my Auntie Sally. It's really about lifestyle. She used to live in a one-bedroom, one-bath condo alone near Hillsdale, and now she lives in Palo Alto. And yes, it costs quite a bit to live there for her because she had to outlay a good amount up front. But I look at how happy she is, and I just enjoy that myself. When I go to visit her, and I go to her Sunday brunches, and I'm sure you guys have awesome Sunday brunches because I saw a photo of your chef with a great layout of food. But those kinds of things with family, that's really what we find important. And you can coordinate with the Gold Crown team to meet with us. We'll do office hours, probably not till November, but we'll do office hours where we come out here and you can schedule an appointment with the Gold Crown team to figure out if you have any questions or things like that. And Rajiv and I will hang out today as well, so you'll be able to talk to us one-on-one at that point. But I do want to move things along, and we have a fantastic form of entertainment. I don't want to spoil it, so I'll bring up Mr. Hafner, and then he can introduce our entertainer. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Rajiv. We didn't want to bore you to tears with a lot of information. As you can see, they were very brief, but you should know that they're a resource, and it's somebody you can talk to. With regard to your own financial situation, in my own family, when we had situations where money was diverted from my grandmothers, it was when they were in the hospital or when they had a hip operation and they lost control. So you have the power now, all of the seniors that are here, all of our prospective residents, and all of our Premier Club members, you have the power to make the decisions now. If you take control, somebody else won't take control later. If you are in a situation where you're having a health concern, that's not the time to do estate planning. That's not the time to be house rich and cash poor. So declare your independence, be a captain of your future. Ask yourself, are you really better off at your age, you know, with that safety bucket, with money in the bank? Most of our residents have CDs. Most of them don't invest in the stock market. Some of them do invest in AAA rated bonds, but not a lot, maybe 25%. And they live very comfortably, and then they don't have to worry about, you know, what's going to happen to the house at the wrong time. So again, you have the power. Make the decision when you have the capability, and declare your own independence and be a captain of your future.